Hi my angels and welcome back to my channel. So today I have a very long awaited video and that is how I contour using my Laura Mercier cream contour kit, and it's going to be a talk through video. It's going to be quite in depth, just showing you guys exactly how I like to contour. One thing that I do want to say is you need to contour depending on your face shape, so I will leave a link of some like pictures and things below so you know exactly where you should be contouring and the places that you should also avoid contouring depending on the shape of your face. But this video is just to show you guys exactly how I use this and what colors I use as well, and how I kind of customize this palette to work for me and to kind of create this contour that I have on my face right now. So yeah, if you would like to see how I cream contour, then please keep watching. So just to speed things up a little bit, I do have my brows, my eyes and my base all done. So for my brows, I will leave my brow tutorial link in the info box below. For my eyes, I have literally just got this Charlotte Tilbury Color Chameleon in the shade, what is the called? Amber Haze. So I've just got this all over my eyelid, and then I put a little bit of this Bahama bronzer in the crease just to make sure that it's nice and blended. Something very, very simple. And for mascara, I have used the L'Oreal False Lash Sculpt and a mixture of the Maybelline Lash Sensational. So that is the breakdown of what I've got on my face, and now we're going to jump straight into how I do my contouring with this cream contour palette, which is my favourite. So the first thing that I like to do whenever I do a cream contour is I like to put my concealer and highlight on first. Now, because my skin is generally in a good condition right now, I don't need to conceal any blemishes or anything, but if you do have any blemishes, then I would go ahead and do that. But for my concealing and highlighting, I use my trusty Maybelline Age Rewind Anti-Age Eye, whatever this concealer name is the Instant Anti-Age The Eye Eraser Eye. You guys know what I mean. I use this in the shade Light. What I like to do is I like to twist this up a few times and I go ahead and start highlighting my face. So when we're highlighting our face, we want to kind of highlight the areas that we want to bring forward, and we're going to be contouring the areas that we want to kind of bring backwards and kind of sculpt. So the areas that I like to highlight are underneath my eyes in a triangle shape, slightly on my forehead, down the center of my nose, a little bit on my cupid's bow, and a little bit on my chin as well. So grabbing my Maybelline concealer, I am going to go ahead and start highlighting. So what I like to do is I first bring this in the in parts of my eyes, and then I drag it kind of out, and then I kind of cut down the side of my nose here, and then I bring that up to join what we had already drawn up here. And I'm just going to kind of fill that triangle shape in. I'm going to do the same on the other eye. So curve it underneath the eye, straight down, and join it up. I like to end my contour here. You can actually bring it down even more if you really want to. Then I put a little bit on my forehead, so like literally a little circle, and then I drag this all the way down the center of my nose. Then I add a little bit to my cupid's bow and my chin. Sometimes, depending on my mood, I will highlight a little bit underneath my contour line, but I generally do this once my kind of contour is complete. But for now, we are kind of done with the highlighting area, and then I'm going to blend all of this out using my beauty blender. So what I like to do with this, I don't rub, I literally just pat. So I'm going to pat this all away. What you do want to remember is you want to use a very damp beauty blender, because this is going to help blend all of the concealer and highlight away really well. If you do use this dry, it's really not going to look good and you're going to hate the beauty blender. So make sure that it's really nice and damp, and then you just want to make sure that you're blending all the lines away. So the next thing you want to do is make sure all those areas are nice and set, and the two products that I like to use are either the Kick-Ass Soap and Glory powder or the Laura Mercier translucent setting powder. For this video, I'm going to use the Laura Mercier setting powder, and what I do with this is I grab some of this on the brush. The brush that I'm using here is the Zoeva Luxe Face Focus, and I simply just start pressing this in to all those areas that we applied that concealer. You can actually dip your damp beauty blender into the powder and then put it on your skin, but I find that that can sometimes look a little bit heavy. I personally only use the beauty blender when I want a really full coverage look, but generally I like to use a brush to set all of those areas. Now that we have highlighted, we're going to go in with the contour. Here is the contour palette. What I like to do first is I like to take the lightest contour shade to kind of carve out the areas that I want to contour my face. So I grab this shade right here, and I generally like to use a synthetic brush for this. The one that I'm using right now is the Soft Concealer Brush by Zoeva. So I'm taking this on my brush and I'm just going to go ahead and start contouring my face. So first I like to do a line just where my cheekbone is and on the other side as well. Because I have quite a big forehead, I will contour all around the sides. And there's no kind of like way to do this. I just kind of do a line. Depending on my mood, sometimes I'll do like little dots like this, but it all depends what I'm feeling and how much time I have. So now that we have that, I'm going to also contour my jawline, and this just kind of helps your jawline look a bit more defined. So I'm taking that same shade. So what I do with that colour is I take it from my chin and I drag it up to where my earlobe is. And doing the same on the other side. And then I also do a little bit on my chin, or underneath my chin as well. Can you guys hear that noise? Someone's literally like sawing a tree in someone's garden. Next up, I'm going to contour my lips really slightly, and this just makes the lips look very full. So you want to contour a little bit underneath your lips, right here. And then also just in between the cupid's bow. Next up, we're going to contour the nose. I sometimes just use my finger, I'm not going to lie. But for this video, I am going to show you how to do it with this brush. So what I like to do is I like to start like where my bridge of my nose is. And then I just draw a line straight down the sides of my nose. And the same on the other side. And then I'm going to just do a little bit on the tip and a little bit in the middle here. So once I've got those lines in place, I go and deepen up the contour. Now, if I was just doing a day-to-day contour, this is where I would leave it, but I am going to show you how you can customize your contour using this palette. So what I like to do is I take the second medium shade here and I just go over the lines. So I go over the kind of outside bit of the cheek contour, a little bit around my forehead, a little bit on the jawline, and I am going to add just a tiny bit on the nose, just really slightly. And then I'm going to take the deepest shade, which is this shade here, and I'm going to go and just deepen up the outer parts of the cheek contour. So now I've got all the contour lines where I want them to be, and now it's time to blend those out. So I like to use a mixture of two brushes. My two favorite brushes to do this is the Real Techniques Duo Fiber Contour Brush or the Real Techniques Contour Brush. For this, I'm just going to use the Real Techniques Contour Brush because this is a really, really good brush to blend out any cream product. So what I do when I'm blending out my contour is I always drag the contour up. Especially for this, you don't want to drag and blend the contour down because it's going to blend your contour in areas that you don't want it to be in. So I just start making circles and I start blending all the lines out. And then I'm just going to do the same thing to all the other lines on my face. And for my nose contour, I generally just use my fingers to blend out the lines. And then I just go over it with a beauty blender. So once I have my cream contour like blended out, I kind of just look at my face and think, is there anywhere that I need to add anything or change anything? I am going to add a little bit more contour just on my cheeks, and I'm going to use the lightest shade for this because we can always build things up, but it's difficult to tone things down. Blend everything away. Okay, so now that I'm happy with the way that things are looking, I'm just going to take my beauty blender and kind of make sure that the lines between the contour and the highlight are nice and seamless. Now that we are done with the cream part, you want to always set any cream product that you put on your face because it's going to last longer and it's going to lock everything in place, so you basically won't have to top things up throughout the day or throughout the night. To set these areas, I am actually going to be using the Kevyn Aucoin Sculpt powder in the shade, what is this, medium. You can use any kind of cool toned brown shade. I actually have a lot of eyeshadows that I like. I will actually leave some of my favourite contour powders in the info box below so you guys can check those out. But for this video I am going to be using this Kevyn Aucoin, and the brush that I'm going to be using to set these areas is the Zoeva face paint brush. We're going to get some of this product and always tap away any excess because you don't want to be left with too much product on your face. And then I always like to start off with my cheeks first, and I just kind of set any areas that we've got that cream contour on. And then I always like to bounce my beauty blender on my nose once I've done setting that, just so that the lines aren't too harsh. Then I like to take a face brush and just kind of blend all those lines together. Sometimes if I do want a more full coverage look, then I will take something like my MAC Mineralized Skin Finish. I will sometimes just dip this in there and just blend all those lines in together, just so that everything is looking really nice and seamless. But like I said, I don't do this all the time. It just depends on what occasion it is. I will only generally do that if I've got like a party or an event to go to. So now that we've got our contour and highlight all done, I do like to sometimes go in with a bronzer just to warm up the face a little bit. And the one that I love is this Sephora Baked Powder, and this is in the shade 60, which is the darkest shade that they do. And what I simply do with this is I just add this to the perimeters of my face. So just on my cheeks, around my hairline, and a little bit on my jawline as well. This step is optional, but I do sometimes like to go and just clean up my contour a little bit, and that is by simply just adding some of this Maybelline concealer just underneath where our contour is. And this just kind of cleans the look up and it gives more of an kind of exaggerated contour. Like I said, you don't have to do this bit, but I personally like doing this, especially if I've got like a night out or if I've got like an event to go to. It just looks really nice in photography as well. So I'm just blending all of this away with my beauty blender. And then taking the same brush that we used the bronzer on, I just kind of go over the area so that it's not as harsh or there's not too much of a defined line. So next up is finishing off the cheeks, and I like to go in with my highlighter first. The highlighter that I'm going to be using is none other than Champagne Pop by Becca, and the brush that I'm going to be using for that is the Anastasia A23 brush. Where I like to powder highlight my face are on the tops of my cheeks, and it just gives this beautiful glow to the skin. And then I do add a little bit just to the sides of my forehead, just on top of my brows, and this just adds a really nice glow, especially in pictures. And then I add a little bit down the bridge of my nose and my Cupid's bow, and this is just going to help the lips look a lot more fuller than they are. I used to put highlight on my chin, but I realized that sometimes my chin just looked really shiny and it was not a good look, so I've stopped doing that. But if you like to highlight your chin, then you can go ahead and do that. In the end, I just like to make sure everything is nice and blended. Generally, I also put a little bit in my brow bone as well, just so that everything is nice and matching. Next, I'm going to go in with blush, and the blush that I'm going to be using is this NYX blush in the shade Bittersweet, and I'm just going to add this on to the apples of my cheeks. And the reason why I like to do my blush at the end is so that the highlight like kind of glows through any blush colour that is put on top of the cheeks. I generally leave my lower lash mascara to do right until the end, once I've done my concealer and setting and all of that. So I'm just going to pop a little bit of the False Lash Sculpt mascara on my lower lashes as well. And for the last step, I'm going to be putting some lipstick on, and I'm going to be using this NYX Liquid Suede lipstick in the shade Sandstorn. So this is the end of the tutorial. I really hope you guys got some tips and tricks on how I use my Laura Mercier contour kit. I actually feel like it's the best high-end cream contour kit out there. I absolutely love the colours. I really love the cool tones that they have to them as well. So it kind of doesn't make your contour look really muddy. It looks very natural and it's super easy to blend as well. I know it's taken me a really long time to get this tutorial up, so I am really sorry about that, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video nonetheless. Please do leave me comments below of what kind of videos you would like to see next. I know I have had so many requests on doing a makeup collection video and kind of like a room tour, makeup tour video. However, I will not be doing one anytime soon, only because the way that I organize my makeup right now is driving me insane. I really don't have enough space and I'm not happy with the way things are. So please bear with me. I will be doing a video on that when I am happy with the way that everything is finally stored. So sorry for the wait on that, but there will be one coming, but not anytime soon. I just wanted to let you all know. I think that's all I have left to say. I love you guys so much. Thank you so much for watching, and I guess I will see you all in my next video. Bye!